Hello, everyone. Welcome and thank you for logging in to today's webinar. My name is TJ Cantwell, and I'm the Executive Director of the NCCCO Foundation. At the NCCCO Foundation, we are working to improve the crane industry for everyone, everyone working in the load handling field through research, education, and workforce development programs. You can learn more about the Foundation programs in future webinars, which you'll be hearing some about today, but you can learn more at our website, ncccofoundation.org. Today, as part of our educational webinar series, I'll be sharing what the NCCCO Foundation has learned over the last couple of years regarding educating, engaging, and exciting people about careers in the crane industry. I will also be sharing some new free resources that the Foundation has developed to assist you and your companies with your outreach efforts. I'll also conduct a short Q&A at the end of today's presentation. So if you have any questions during the webinar, please feel free to type them into the Q&A box on Zoom as we go, and I will address as many as possible at the end of the presentation. Please note that today's webinar is being recorded so we can share with others. Some brief background about me. As I said, I'm the Executive Director of the NCCCO Foundation. I joined the foundation in July of 2022. I've worked in the nonprofit management field for more than 25 years, helping build national programs and organizations in a variety of fields. It's my pleasure to now be able to work in support of the fantastic crane industry. As I said, today we'll have time for Q&A, and we'll want to be able to save some time at the very end for that. So you can put your questions in there. Otherwise, you will be on mute, and I will be doing a presentation here for the first half of the webinar session today. So without further ado, let me continue to talk about provide this webinar on educating, engaging, and exciting people about careers in the crane industry. Today's agenda will include a brief introduction, as we've already done here. We will talk a little bit about the foundation itself, our overall mission, some other initiatives that we are engaged in, just to give you a background. Then mostly we'll focus on our workforce development work, which is focused on career awareness, and then various aspects to that to help give you a sense of what we've been doing and what we've learned from all of the activities that we've undertaken over the last couple of years. A little bit about the foundation itself. We were founded in 2018. This is our current board of directors. As you can see, there are a variety of experts from within the industry, from outside the industry, all helping to guide the organization and lead us in a direction to help best serve the industry and the crane industry specifically, to determine what we can do in the areas of research, workforce development, and education. We have 4 committees: the CTAG committee, which focuses on most similar determinations, the education committee, the research committee, and the workforce development committee. Again, all consisting of experts within and outside of this industry to help inform the work that we're doing. Primary goals of our foundation are workforce development. Again, we'll talk a lot about that today: improving public awareness of careers in this industry, and helping share the skills and the qualifications needed to be successful in it. Disseminating education, where we are working to disseminate more information, build additional resources in a variety of different areas that will help improve safety, skills development, and then career advancement. And then finally, research. We are focused on trying to do our own research focused on the crane industry to help collect better data, provide information to the industry on both safety, workforce development, and innovation. Some of the other activities that we're doing at the foundation, again, we'll focus a lot today on workforce development, but want to give you a sense of the other things that are available to you as a member of the industry. We, as I said, focus on education. We have an annual industry forum where we bring experts from around the industry and outside the industry to talk about important issues focused on the crane industry. So the safety, we've had the Director of Enforcement, Scott Ketchum, speak our industry forum. We've had folks from CPWR talk about safety. The National Safety Council, talk about the research we're doing with them, and Humroad, talk about some workforce research we've done with them just at our most recent industry forum back in October. All of those sessions are available online now, so you can access those even if you weren't able to make that meeting. But we do that on an annual basis, typically in October, and up this upcoming year, we will likely do one in spring. Quarterly educational webinars like this one, we typically have a webinar on a different subject every quarter. Again, these are all free, and you can access those on our website as well. Recordings of each one of those. We've done some webinars with women crane operators. We've done some webinars with military veteran crane operators. We've talked about some of the research that we've done in the past more in depth, which you'll get a sense of to some of it today, as well as some other topics related to safety. So I invite you to check those out and then to follow us on our LinkedIn page to find out more information about upcoming webinars that we plan in 2025. We also are working to develop new education resources for the industry, things on topics that we believe are very important that can help those that are currently in the industry. For example, right now we are working on a couple different focus areas, roles and responsibilities, trying to build some resources that will help those in the industry talk about the various roles and responsibilities related to owning, operating, or having a crane on site. I'm really focused on general contractors, subcontractors, site owners, to help educate them about their responsibilities if they have a crane on site, that it doesn't all fall on the crane operator, right? And so we're going to be building those resources, and it'll be available in 2025. Same thing with computer literacy. We are working to develop some very basic computer literacy information, things about how to use a computer, how to use a mouse, how to be comfortable with getting on the internet, creating emails, etc. Because we've heard from those in the industry that can be a difficult thing if they've not done that or not had to do that for their job, but are now having to do that for other things to advance in their careers. So we'll have those resources developed and released sometime in early 2025. And then safety mitigation resources, we continue to do, we'll have a major focus on safety. We are developing a tool in collaboration with the National Safety Council that will help identify resources, ideas, tools that could be used at different companies to help determine what their hazards are, and then potential solutions, mitigation solutions for those safety hazards based on hierarchy of controls. And so that will also be releasing sometime in early 2025. On research, again, I will talk a little bit about the research findings that we've a little bit today related to workforce development, but we currently have all of these research reports available online right now for free. You can get them on our website. Understanding the current state of safety hazards in the crane industry and potential technology solutions to address hazards in the crane industry. Again, both reports were put together in collaboration with the National Safety Council, Work to Zero program, and are focused specifically on the crane industry, getting feedback from those who operate in the crane industry on a regular basis on what they identified as the highest and most common hazards in the industry, and then some potential technology solutions to address those hazards that could be considered for your organizations. And then we have our major research paper that was done related to workforce in general. Again, I'll provide a couple examples of things focused related to recruitment today, but there's a larger aspect to that as far as demographics and information and overall opinions of those working in the crane industry, especially as operators, that are available. That full report's available online on our website. And then an upcoming report that we will release in early 2025, which is exploring occupations similar to the crane operators and related roles. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later, about how we're going to use that and how we think that will be beneficial to the work related to workforce development, and the next steps for what we're going to do as a foundation. And again, obviously, we're working on workforce development, which I'll talk more about now. So early in in the development of our workforce programs, we worked with an organization called Tallow to do a perception survey. They had over 1 million different users on their service, mostly students, young people that were interested in finding future careers. And so we work with them to get a initial survey of their universe to determine what the perceptions were and are of the crane industry. Um, and these are kind of the highlights that we got out of that. And this all helps inform some of the later work that we're doing that I'll share with you towards the end of this presentation. Um, but essentially what we found from them was in this, again, perception survey was that they overall view the career as being fun and challenging and important, but they also perceive it as being hard work, dangerous and monotonous. The 23% of the respondents had not really identified an interest yet. And so, again, that really speaks to the fact that there is a large group of youth that are really not sure what they're going to do next in their career, be it in the crane industry or otherwise. Um, Respondents viewed this career field as being mostly male dominated, which is accurate based on our research. Um, However, again, the opportunities are there that we showed through this perception survey that there was a large interest from females as well. They just did not have they just had a perception that it's very male dominated and weren't sure if this was going to would be a right field for them, even though they had interest in it. And then while most of the respondents planned to go to college, there was again 44% that had not identified a next step. Again, speaking to the fact that there are a large group of folks out there that don't know what they want to do next, and that we can hopefully, as an industry, make an impact on and educate them about the great opportunities in the crane industry. And then when asked what's most important about learning more about this industry was basically to better understand what the career options were. That they were, for the most part, very unsure about what it was to work in the crane industry, what kind of careers are available, what could they make, what kind of work is it, and specifically, what are the benefits, things like that. All things that they just didn't know anything about, which again, we're going to work to try to change. So some of the recommendations that came out of it was obviously to increase awareness, help build the information about what's available in the crane industry, um, make sure there was a career path that was very familiar, and address some of the day-to-day functions so that people better understood what job duties are, what it is to work in the crane industry in a variety of different positions, and then be able to increase awareness from different groups. Again, people that might traditionally not to be represented in this industry, but that there's a huge population that are now coming into the workforce that want to do something and don't necessarily want to do something behind a desk. They want to do something outdoors with their hands, make a difference in their communities, and that's where we can help make a difference. So what is researchers telling us? These are just outtakes from our research that we did with Humro. As I said, it was a large large survey of basically operators that are certified out there. Included some rigging, some lift directors, etc., but mostly crane operators that are out in the field right now that are currently active. And we did a survey of them, many questions about a year ago. These are the highlights that came out of it that are really related to recruitment. Again, there's other stuff that's related to demographics, etc., that I won't bother with today. But again, you can get that through our full report on our website. So some important things that came out of our research was that they tend to have, the current operators out there tend to have, and people in the workforce, a high sense of pride in the work that they're doing, that they believe it positively contributes to society. Now, the other negative aspect of it is that they, thought that there was, work-life balance issues in some cases, and that it is a stressful job. And I'm sure anybody who's worked in the industry as an operator or anywhere around a crane would understand the need for they understand that it is a stressful job at times, and that the need for safety, but that that is a concern for on some one end, and on the positive end they do really see this as a very rewarding job, and we need to help explain that more. Another thing that came out of that was that they really valued the connections and personal interactions, in one hand, and that's the teamwork aspect of it. And then I think they also had some negative feelings towards, I think, some of the management part of the job, and so that's something we have to work through as an industry as well. There are hurdles that were identified through the survey. Um, most being that they had been introduced through the bud system, so brothers, uncles, dads, sons. If you knew a relative or a buddy that was in the industry, that's how you know about this industry. If you don't, then you probably don't know much about the industry. You probably don't know how to start, where to go, anything about any of the jobs available out there. You've got to be introduced by somebody else personally, and that's really limiting in terms of trying to get people to be interested and to then eventually participate and seek a career in this industry. The demographics are also very low, and it lacks diversity. And so that's something, again, that's probably anecdotally obvious, but through our research, we were able to show, again, is unfortunately a matter of fact, and it's something where I think we can work on as an industry to try to help appeal to everybody. That could be, very quality employee in the crane industry, and really lack of exposure. So many of the folks noted that there was a lack of exposure to this as a potential career, and any understanding about what how they get into it. What would they do in this? Is this a long-term career? How much money they could make? Things like that are a concern in terms of trying to get folks interested in this as a career. In terms of recruitment and outreach opportunities, so a couple things were identified. Um, and I think the main point here, as you can see on the screen, there's several different ones, but it's really to try to systematically and look to ways that we can help increase recruitment on an industry-wide level. What can be done to help improve the pathways, improve the education of folks, and help them understand what the value and benefits are of this as a career. Um, Create internal pathways so that it's obvious that if you start a job at some organization, some company, that here's the next steps to get better, to learn, and to potentially grow and advance in a career, to help people understand that that's possible, and that happens all the time in this industry, but they need to see a pathway. They need to understand that that's what's going to happen. Other trades do that. This industry needs to do it better. Um, and we need to, ensure that recruits have access to, that kind of structured training program. And so they better understand what they can do and can't do, and what they need to learn in order to advance. Um, I think, and again, noted here that there's a lot of potential in the Spanish speaking communities. That's a area that we'll talk about later in terms of places that we can target as an industry. Many of them respondents indicated that they did not learn much about the industry, the potential crane industry, in school, through educational programs. They, learned again later from relatives or friends, but that they thought that would be a great opportunity, a place where we can focus to try to educate folks about the potential careers, because other industries and other trades are doing just that. Overall, lots of the respondents were on Facebook and YouTube, and recommended that those are places where where we as an industry could be trying to help find folks and educate them about the industry. And then they also indicated, that they would say that the things that attracted them most, that employers could highlight, would be related to pay and benefits, and the opportunity to work with that kind of equipment. And we'll talk more about kind of the other messages that we've developed through other means in terms of our creating our messages in the future, and what we're using to help with our recruitment. and then using that social media, going out to those folks where they are, um, going to where the potential candidates are, trying to more readily utilize social media in order to get the messages out there. Again, we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Communication and outreach opportunities. Again, I just list a few here because our goal as a foundation is be able to help engage the entire industry in doing this kind of outreach, because the more people, the more companies and individuals that are going out talking about the industry, the better it will be for the entire industry overall. The easier it'll be to recruit candidates and find quality candidates. Um, so some of the places, again, I just mentioned through our research, we found social media is a place that we need to do more in. High schools and community colleges. So specifically things like career job fairs, going and having a presence at career and job fairs to talk to folks. It may not lead to a direct individual signing up to get a job today, but consistency is important. And the more you go to those kind of events, the more you create those relationships in your local communities and high schools, the more opportunity there is in the future. CTE programs within those high schools, again, obvious place that's to find folks, but creating those relationships with the CTE instructors is essential. Same with the high school counselors. The FFA, Future Farmers of America, and Skills USA. We have had a great experience, and again, I recommend those who have those programs within your high schools to try to connect with those schools programs. Those individuals, those students and instructors that are in there are highly motivated, very intelligent kids, and ones that are really probably have some experience operating equipment already. They understand hard work, they understand responsibility, and we've in collaboration with the SCNRF have exhibited a couple times now, both at the FFA National Conference and the Skills USA National Conference, and had great experiences speaking with folks, talking to these kids and these instructors about the crane industry, giving them information about it, directing them again to the website resources I'll talk about in a few minutes. It's been a wonderful opportunity. And so I highly recommend trying to reach out to those organizations to see if you can speak with them. Just doing a presentation about your company and what they do, and the different opportunities that are available in the industry. Those kids are looking for opportunities, and they again would in many cases be a great fit, and in some cases have probably operated pretty significant equipment on their farms. um, Attending local touch a truck or similar events, or hosting one. Again, there's several throughout the country that you could participate in, bring a crane, or just go there to participate in the table and talk to folks. Um, some companies have started their own internship or apprenticeship programs with their local high schools. Again, that's very involved, but there are other organizations and companies that have done that, and again are trying to build their pipeline. And then there's additional ideas that the SCNRF is working through their Workforce Ambassadors Initiative that I would recommend checking it out on their webpage. Check out their ambassador program. Again, they're doing great work to try to engage companies, give them opportunities and recognition for the work they're doing in their communities. And again, this isn't about just tomorrow I've got to find somebody new and get an employee in my job. That might happen, but the reality is it's really a long-term project. Building that kind of rapport and those relationships with the local community, that's how you will, over the long term, build a pipeline within your company to find the right people and find really qualified people, and make sure that they understand what the job's about and that they're really interested and motivated in being being a part of the industry. So potential target audiences for us as an organization, we've been looking at a variety of things based on the research, based on some of the outreach that we've already done. There are, specific groups, or I'll say general groups first, that I'll say that veterans, youth 18 plus, women and minorities, and other trades. Those are things that are, anecdotally obvious. I'm sure places where people are already trying to do recruiting, but places again where our organization is going to help do more to focus on, create better messaging for, potentially better resources for that to outreach to those groups, and really try to help focus to get more of those folks into this. Um, as a kind of bigger look at the groups that we could potentially go after, we've identified three areas, three personas, if you will, that we think are the primary targets at this point. Again, early on in this kind of development stage of workforce and trying to see where we can raise career awareness. The experienced tradesperson. So this would be somebody that's seeking a career advancement within the construction field. Likely, again, one of those folks that are doing something in a related in construction, but maybe doing something related. These would be similar to, again, maybe a construction day laborer, somebody that's working on a crew, people that are working in around cranes but not really involved in the actual cranes themselves, but they are looking to advance their career. How can they continue on doing the career? They know that being a day laborer is not the thing that's going to really have a career in a long-term job for them, but they want to seek something else that's better, and they're good at their jobs, but they want to continue to seek something in the construction industry. The stability seeker, really somebody that's exploring new and better opportunities for in a similar field. So this would be for example, somebody that's a CDL driver, somebody that is good. They show responsibility. They may be driving, doing local deliveries. They may be doing construction deliveries, but they are just really they're in a related field that that they like, but is really not a long-term solution for them. And so we want to show that this industry can be a long-term career solution. And there's a lot of other benefits related to it, right? In terms of job stability and increased income and growth, things like that, that they can do if they wanted to switch over from having one career to this better career in the crane industry. And then finally, the aspiring apprentice. This is more, again, looking at the youth, and maybe not even those that are that young, if you think about it. Just people that are looking to desire a more meaningful career. They may be working in the one, an industry that makes the ends meet, but is really not meaningful to them. They just don't like it. They desire to be in something that's going to actually make a difference. That's going to build a legacy for themselves. It's going to build a life for their families. And they want to see where they could grow, and again, what that career path looks like, so that we can see growth potential over time, and that they could really make an entire life and career in this industry. That's the kind of people we want to appeal to in our work. And so those are the three main areas where we are currently looking at to try to determine what the messaging would be best for them. So here's some potential motivating messages. Again, this is from some work we're doing with some marketing folks, some workforce development folks, and some of the messaging that we are currently working to test. So for those groups that I identified in the last slide, potential motivating messages, and again, this is related to our workforce research as well. Some of the motivating messages in general would be that this is hands-on, rewarding work, something where you can build a legacy, a long-term legacy, and be proud of what you've done. It's meaningful work. Interpersonal connections, really the teamwork aspect of it. There's a lot of teamwork, as you all know, within this industry. How can we help raise the awareness of that this is really about being able to work with others and have a teamwork aspect to it. Financial reward, obviously, that there's a lot of benefits of this industry in terms of what you can make, and over time make more money. The outdoor work environment, which is not for everybody, but it is for a lot of people, and we want to be able to highlight that, and that you don't have to sit behind a desk all day, punch in numbers and be bored with your life. Career stability, again, going back to that, long term, is this a career that we can really make a difference in, or that we can really stay in, and that it's something that we will not be worried about that tomorrow is going to be taken over by AI. Problem solving, again, a lot of problem solving in this, and there's a lot of folks out there that are really smart and really want to be good with their hands and want to think through problems and how can we solve those. That this industry really does provide that, and it's just not something that is well known. Career with current and future demand, again, the growth of the construction industry in general, the growth of transportation, all the projects that are going to be going on in the next 10 years. There's a lot of statistics related to how much opportunity there's going to be in the future. So this is not a job that's going away very soon. Dynamic and challenging work environment. Obviously, with all the rest that I've talked about, that is an important aspect that I think will appeal to folks. That we think will appeal to folks if we just highlight it more. And then growth potential. Growth potential within this as an industry. Once you start, you can work your way up, and you can do a lot of things over time. Especially, if you don't have a degree, you can still have huge growth potential with no degree. So those are some of the messages that, again, I would suggest that would be potentially good to focus on if you're doing your recruitment efforts. And these are ones that we're looking to use and then to really determine effectiveness. And I'll tell you more about that in a minute. So our key messages, which we built around our new campaign, My Crane Career, which is a website and a campaign that we are launching, are focused on a career, not just a job, satisfaction from hard work, and then to be a part of something bigger. And that's all kind of encompassed in our tagline for the website, which is build something bigger. And again, we think that those messages encompass kind of a lot of the other things that were on the previous page in terms of trying to appeal to people about why this is a great industry to work in. So workforce development, we're focusing on launching this new campaign called My Crane Career so that we can raise awareness and address some of the issues that I brought up in the first couple slides related to our research. People not understanding what the opportunities are in this industry, people not being excited about the opportunities that are there, and not having real clear messages. And then finally, being able to have resources available to those who don't have the time or the money to develop them themselves, that they can use these resources, again, to educate folks that might be in their communities, that might be interested, people that are asking about potential jobs, so they would better understand what kind of careers are there and really get them excited about it. So it was launched back in September. It's got a variety of different resources, which I will walk you through. But it's currently online at mycranecareer.org, and I invite you to check it out further after we're done. One of the things that's on here is the top 10 reasons to join the industry. I've listed them out here, but there's again a whole page of visuals and information on it. But you'll notice that while some of it focuses, a couple things are related to salary and money, that is not necessarily the main thing. And this again comes out of our research and the other work that we've done. Some of the things you can talk about, and we recommend talking about, are things about the career stability, job satisfaction, contributing to society. That's a real huge one for younger folks who are trying to make a difference. It's not all about the money for them. Yes, it's important, but it's about trying to make a difference, contributing to society, doing something that's a legacy that matters. Team and collaboration, hands-on work, variety work environments, skill development, travel opportunities. Again, all things that are in this industry that we need to focus on more as an industry to talk about. And us as the foundation is working to find ways to build resources to talk more about that. But this is available on our website again, just to share with folks if they're interested, to see more of the things with some more details and some pictures and videos related to each one of these things. And there's also a PDF that's available on our site for download to share with others if you're interested. This is a quick snapshot. We have built out a career path. And so if you click online, if you clicked any one of these, you would get more information underneath. And then you would, for 19 of these positions, be able to see actual full descriptions, which I'll show you in a second. But again, we wanted to set out a career path based on that research we found before. What would it look like to actually have a career path? Where do I start generally? Where could I go? What other things, what other things could I do in this industry? And there are a lot. If you really lay it out, there are a lot of things, and it's just never really been laid out before. So this is available on our website to share with folks. And if you even go further on to what are advanced, more experienced field positions, non-field positions, positions that require a degree. Again, there are people that we want to recruit in this industry, not necessarily just the operators and the folks in the field, but people that are doing non-field positions. We want to get everybody inspired and really understand this is a great industry to work in. So for 19 of those industry careers, we highlight them and have ability for them to dig even deeper and get a sense of those. So this is again a snapshot of what one of the pages is for mobile crane operator. Gives you an at a glance information, typical salary ranges, typical duties and responsibilities, typical experience and training, and typical skills. Again, it doesn't have specifics because it just depends on your region and area when you're talking about what opportunities are available and salary ranges and things like that. But we want to give people the opportunity to read and say, oh, this is kind of what this is about. This is where, again, there was not an ability to do that before. You could not send them someplace and say, want to learn more about this as a career. Here's kind of what they do. And we've done our best to make it, to really explain it in a quick way, but also in an interesting way. Some other things that are on there, there is a kind of a basic get started. So this website's not a job board. It's not going to be and never intended to be. It's really just to give some educational materials and resources for folks to use, both individuals and people in the industry. We do have links to or some information related to where to find jobs and find crane companies, union halls, and then accredited training providers so that they can see what the next steps potentially would be and then pursue those on their own. But it's not a question of I've got to find somebody in the industry that does this already so I can learn what they did and that's the only option I have. Again, we want to give them some options and opportunity to see that this is there is clear career paths and clear ways to get into the industry. There's also a very simple quiz that asks some questions that are listed here on the screen that talk about, are these the things that you like or are good at? And can you be able to, would this be a good career fit for you? Resulting in a very simple, like this would be a good fit, this might not be great, or you may need to look into a little bit more to determine if it would be a good fit for you, and then allow them to kind of see if it's something that they would like. Which again, we hope that many of the people that are going to visit our site will agree that it's something that they may like to do for a living. We have a couple of videos excuse me, a couple videos that we've developed internally. Again, these are custom videos about the industry. They talk about both short social media videos, talking about the value of the industry and that we need more people that want to get that have hands-on and have responsibility and have growth opportunities. Longer ones, 2-minute ones that talk about from real crane operators, people that are operators and riggers, talking about their day-to-day job and why they love what they do. These are all available on our website. Again, the only branding on them is My Crane Career. And we are welcoming folks to be able to use this and share this with your outreach. Please do. This was created in a way that is hopefully an opportunity to share this with folks, get them excited about it, talking about potential jobs and again, potential jobs that you may have. We also have all these in a resource and toolkit. If you go to mycranecareer.org/toolkit, you can see all of these resources I'm talking about available on one page. So we've got some of the recordings of our webinars for women and military veterans on there. We've got Why Crane Career videos and some other information about potential places you can get scholarships, including the foundation, the NCCCO Foundation. We have some scholarships that we're now offering, and then PDFs, some of the different things I've mentioned, and then social media graphics. So we are doing starting social media campaign, and we are again hoping that folks in this industry will help build up the awareness by also sharing within their work and what they're doing in their social media outlets to share those graphics that just talk about the industry in general and the advantages of it and why people should consider becoming a member and an employee in this industry. So I'll wrap up with some of our future work activities for the foundation. We are going to be looking to publish this research I mentioned before about similar jobs that will hopefully help us and help the industry really determine other places where we can find quality candidates. I'm sure there's resources and places you all go in your local community, but the idea here is to establish some data-driven information about what would be potentially similar jobs that we can be targeting to go after and talk about, hey, you have very similar skills to this industry. Why don't you consider building a more lucrative and beneficial and rewarding career in this industry? So that research will come out in the next few months. We are also launching a paid online advertising campaign. Again, it's very small relatively, and the real goal of that, we're going to drive people to our website to hopefully build interest and get some people interested in this industry. But the real goal is to determine what messages resonate most with them. So the ones that I talked about earlier, those messaging, that's a lot. There's a lot of different things. We want to see what messages and where and who is reading those messages and who is responding to them and coming to our website and saying, I want to know more about this industry. That kind of information we'll have again next year and be able to share that with the industry and talk about where you could also be looking for candidates, what messaging you need to be using when you're talking about positions available in your company. Again, the social media campaign, we need to go out to where they are. And so we are launching social media campaigns for Under My Crane Career for both on Facebook and Instagram to help get that out there. Again, we invite the industry to do the same. Again, either on your own or sharing what we have out there. Again, we need to do more of that as an industry. We will continue expanding our messages and building our resource development and all the areas that I talked about and continuing to do more of that. And then hopefully do more engagement of the crane industry like we're doing today, talking about the different resources we have and giving you the information so you can use it in your outreach efforts. So my question, I will open it up for questions in a second if there are any. Um, but I do have a question for the industry here, those who are involved and who are watching this video. What other tools can this foundation and others create that would be useful? Is it more targeted videos for different audiences? Is it more written materials and PDFs, things that would be able to be handed out to folks and that we're talking about them in your recruitment efforts, going to schools and talking with them? What kind of resources could you use? Is it really developing more messaging and helping share that with the industry as good ideas of what could be good messages? And then the basics of crane operation, or other sample social media or other things that you could get out of it. But that's what I would ask to this industry. We want to engage you, want you to be doing more in terms of outreach and helping you really be more effective in your outreach to try to recruit and engage folks in this industry. So if you have ideas of things that you really think would be beneficial, um, please share it with me now or send me an email and talk to happy to get your ideas and see what we can do as an organization. So I will, the last few minutes here, I'll open it up to any questions. Again, you can put your question into the Zoom Q&A and ask your questions there. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about about my presentation or about anything that we've done in terms of research or otherwise in your outreach efforts. Well, one thing we do get questions about uh, uh, often is how to really connect with the local um your local schools and your local CTE programs and things like that. And as I said, I think there's some good resources and information available through the partner organization, the SCNRF. But from what I've learned from those folks and from other folks, the best way to really contact them is trying to go through one of their programs. So a program that they may have already existing that's doing outreach with other industries in the community, or something like the FFA or their CTE program, and seeing if you can just, again, doesn't have to be um, an overly big lift. It can be something that um, you can just really focus on going and having a conversation with them, seeing if they can, let you come and talk with their students for 5 minutes to 10 minutes to answer questions about the industry, show one of the videos that we've created or one of the videos you've created. Just give them a sense of what potential opportunities are out there. And again, whether it's with your company or other companies in the future, it's really a good opportunity. Those instructors are looking for opportunities to really expose their students to that. And that's also at existing community colleges. They have lots of folks going through school for be a mechanic, to be other things. And if you reach out to them, I think you would be able to really get a better sense, of what opportunities are available to you, to just come and spend an hour to talk to them, spend an hour of your time, but really only 10 or 15 minutes maybe to talk to them about potential opportunities in this industry and why you work in it and why you love it. That's what we need to do more of. And so again, I would invite you to reach out to those specific programs within those schools. Just call them up and ask to speak with somebody that's in either the sponsor of the FFA or sponsor of the teacher in the CTE program. That can get you going. Question we have too, aside from language barriers, for example, Spanish, what other example challenges did you find with minorities and other groups? So I think what we did discover in our research was that a lot of the difficulty they've had in terms of training. Um, so having resources and materials available to in Spanish language has been difficult. So so they've been working on it. I know at CCO to CCO Education Services to try to develop some better some materials that are translated so that they could both learn in the with the translated Spanish materials, and also be able to test in Spanish as they can do now. And then in terms of other things, it's just access and understanding. So the questions related to besides Spanish too. Um, some of the difficulties and barriers I think are there. Um, are the I'll go back to the buds thing, which is the fact that the only way to really understand this industry at the moment and learn about it is because you know somebody in this industry that's already working in it. And frankly, I think because we've got a much lower percent of minorities that are in the industry, again based on our research, and I think anecdotally, that means you know less people. If you're a minority, you probably know less people that are in this as a career. And so therefore your exposure to it is even less. And so that's something we want to try to solve is, how can we find other ways for people to be exposed again through online or the website or other campaigns and things like that, or getting out to schools and talking to them individually, where they don't have to rely on knowing somebody in the industry. So it's kind of a strange thing that, that if you're really relying on knowing somebody in the industry, if you don't know somebody else, and since we have a limited number of minorities in this industry, the odds are you're not going to know somebody else if you're a minority that you're a close friend with or related to, in order to get exposure to it. So again, something we need to try to improve, and hopefully through these programs we will. If there's any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Again, I will also just leave you with my information here. Um, Feel free to reach out to me if you got ideas, any more questions offline, or if you've got ideas about things that we could be doing as a foundation. I hope this has been a useful webinar for you. And please keep an eye out for our future webinars that we're going to be developing, several more in 2025. In the existing webinars that we have available online. They're all at our website at ncccofoundation.org. A recording of this webinar will be available in the next week or so. And I'll be sending a brief survey to all attendees to get your feedback. Please complete it. We'd love to see your feedback and get an idea of what we can do to improve. And not seeing any more questions, I'll say thanks very much for everyone for joining the NCCCO Foundation's webinar today. I really appreciate you signing on and being here with us. I hope you learned a lot, and I hope to see you next time. Everybody have a great rest of the day and great week. Thanks. Bye-bye.